I'm one of the librarians here at PVLD, and the book I've chosen is Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. It's been banned several times from lots of school libraries, especially because of its inclusion of sex and graphic language. And I just really like it because, besides being a great author, this book in particular has a lot of characters that are very insightful, and it's stuck with me for a long time. So I'm going to read this little part. You think because he doesn't love you that you are worthless. You think because he doesn't want you anymore that he is right, that his judgment and opinion of you are correct. If he throws you out, then you are garbage. You think he belongs to you because you want to belong to him. Hagar, don't. It's a bad word, belong, especially when you put it with somebody you love. Love shouldn't be like that. Did you ever see the way the clouds love a mountain? They circle all around it. Sometimes you can't even see the mountain for the clouds. But you know what? You go up top and what do you see? His head. The clouds never cover the head. His head pokes through because the clouds let him. They don't wrap him up. They let him keep his head up high, free, with nothing to hide him or bind him. You can't own a human being. You can't lose what you don't own. Suppose you did own him. Could you really love somebody who is absolutely nobody without you? You really want somebody like that? Somebody who falls apart when you walk out the door? You don't, do you? And neither does he. You're turning over your whole life to him. Your whole life, girl. And if it means so little to you that you can just give it away, hand it to him, then why should it mean any more to him? He can't value you any more than you value yourself. That's it.
Hi, I'm Deb Ripley. I'm a librarian here at Palos Verdes Library District, and I'm going to read a little bit from Moby Dick by Herman Melville. And I probably shouldn't admit that I read it for the first time this summer, the summer of my 50th year. It took me that long, but I loved it. This guy's hilarious. Who knew? And of course, there are people who don't like Moby Dick because, well, it's kind of raunchy. There you go. This chapter is the Pequod meets the Bachelor, which is another ship. And jolly enough were the sights and the sounds that came bearing down before the wind, some weeks before Ahab's harpoon had been welded. It was a Nantucket ship, the Bachelor, which had just wedged in her last cask of oil and bolted down her bursting hatches, and now, in glad holiday apparel, was joyously, though somewhat vaingloriously, sailing around among the widely separated ships on the ground, previous to pointing her prow for home. The three men at her masthead wore long streamers of narrow red bunting at their hats. From the stern, a whaleboat was suspended bottom down, and hanging captive from the bowsprit, should I stop?
It's okay.
Was seen the long lower jaw of the last whale they had slain. Signals, ensigns, and jacks of all colors were flying from her rigging on every side. Sideways, lashed in each of her three basketed tops, were 2 barrels of sperm, above which, in her topmost cross trees, you saw slender breakers of the same precious fluid, and nailed to her main truck was a brazen lamp. Lord and master over all this scene, the captain stood erect on the ship's elevated quarterdeck so that the whole rejoicing drama was full before him and seemed merely contrived for his own individual diversion. And Ahab, he too was standing on his quarterdeck, shaggy and black with a stubborn gloom, and as the two ships crossed each other's wakes, one all jubilations for things past, the other all forebodings as to things to come, their two captains in themselves impersonated the whole striking contrast of the scene. "Come aboard! Come aboard!" cried the gay bachelor's commander, lifting a glass and a bottle in the air. "Hast seen the white whale?" gritted Ahab in reply. "Nope, only heard of him, but don't believe in him at all," said the other good-humoredly. "Come aboard. Thou art too damn jolly. Sail on. Hast thou lost any men?" "Not enough to speak of. 2 islanders, that's all. But come aboard, all hearty. Come along. I'll soon take that black from your brow. Come along, will ye? A full ship and homeward bound."